You're listening to the Wally Show podcast. You can hear the live version every weekday morning through the WayFM app or following along with us at wayfm.com/Wally.
The Wally Show podcast is brought to you by Colorado Christian University Online, where Wally teaches and where you can earn a degree online just like Betty Rock. You can learn more at ccu.edu/Wally. This podcast is also brought to you by United Faith Mortgage. Let their direct lender advantage save you time and money.
Uplifting WayFM.
Stories served with a side of Southern sass.
You're breaking my hair!
I mean charm. Here's Betty Rock.
TikTok is the place you want to go if you want to stay relevant and know what the cool kids are talking about.
One of those trends.
You can find what's trending when it comes to all kinds of things like music, what's trending in fashion, and even what to order when eating out. People love posting videos of menu hacks they've discovered, custom off-menu orders that may make it difficult for the restaurant staff to make, but it's also free publicity and it's bringing in more people into their restaurant. Take, for instance, a video one TikTok user posted of a Waffle House hack they ordered, the waffle cheeseburger. And it's exactly what you think it is. 2 waffles placed in the middle is a meat patty with a cheese
That does not sound good to me.
slice. Well, while many teens were rushing to their local Waffle House to order it, one location is downright refusing. One TikTok kid, they put a video up saying that they went to their local Waffle House and saw a handwritten, and I mean that checks out, a handwritten sign on the door that said, quote, "Order from the menu. We are not making anything you saw on TikTok."
I love that. That's what I love about Waffle House. Waffle House just refuses to. They just recently started taking credit cards, which was a big fail for them. Like, they just refuse to do anything like everyone else does.
They have earned our respect.
Absolutely.
And they're not going to go with whatever's trending. They don't care.
I love when you go to Waffle House. Like, I was just there this weekend. My daughter and I used to always go when she was little. So she was home, and so we went and sat at the bar. I love sitting there with her. And they're like, "Hey, honey, what you having?" "Well, I'll have this." "No, you're getting what I want you to have." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine. Like, whatever you want to give
But
me."
I think so many people respect Waffle House.
Absolutely.
Also, they're not afraid that they're going to lose revenue because you're going to come. It's Waffle House.
Hey, man, they're the only place open at 2 a.m. anymore.
Yeah, they don't need to be relevant. They're fine. Other establishments, though, like Chipotle, are welcoming these TikTok hacks. One was recently discovered by a TikTok user posting a video of them ordering a steak quesadilla a certain way, and that way makes it taste like a Philly cheesesteak.
Oh.
Well, Chipotle, I guess, was getting so many orders for these, they're like, wait, what's going on? Found out about the trend. They loved it so much that they're adding it to their menu, making it available by March.
See, that is kind of smart, actually. That's good business. Waffle House is just awesome, but like Chipotle at least is doing better business, to
I don't know.
do that.
I
But
kind of respect Waffle House for saying, no, you
Yeah.
want them smothered, covered, and fried.
if I have a choice between Waffle House or Chipotle, I'm gonna choose Waffle House every time.
Oh, every time.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. Don't expect to be on trend with Waffle House, but it's still gonna be good and greasy. Uplifting WayFM. This is the Wally Show. We're going to do a little 3-word, 3-day weekend. So it was nice. A lot of people had a 3-day weekend. What did you do? Describe it in 3 words, okay? But like a miniature sentence, a miniature 3-word sentence. Like mine is a sticky situation. That is mine.
A sticky situation.
I'm going to find out right now if Betty or Gavin has looked at our Instagram over the weekend, because I did a story about it.
Sometimes you don't know, does sticky mean like actually like sticky as in glue sticky?
Right.
Or does it mean like sticky as in, it's a little bit
Tricky.
dicey?
Yeah, okay.
I have looked at the
Okay, then you stay
situation.
out of
so
it
you know.
then. So
Yeah.
Betty.
Okay,
Yeah.
I don't know. Sticky. I think that you found an old thing of hair gel and you
Yes.
thought, oh, this is going to be fine.
Good
And
idea.
I can still use it. But then you put it in and you're like, ooh, there's an expiration date to when
On
you
hair
can
gel.
use hair gel, and it was super sticky.
I am curious if there is an expiration date. That's a good question. I don't know. But no.
No?
I'm trying out New Best Friends. I'm auditioning New Best Friends
That's
because
right.
Greg's moving.
Yeah.
So I went dirt bike riding with engineer
You
Phil
did
from
that?
the station.
Yes.
You did?
Phil took me dirt bike riding.
Aw.
He has an extra dirt bike. It's a lot smaller than his. I think he did that on purpose.
Come on, son.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I looked like his kid. And so I'm on this little dirt bike, and he's great. Like, he's just tearing it up. And so he was always in front of me waiting. I haven't ridden in so long, and so...
Oh, he had to wait on you?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And so at one point in time, like, he's up in front of me, and we're trying to go around these puddles, and he looks back, and I'm not there. I have somehow gotten a stick from the ground, still attached to the ground, through my face mask, up my nose.
No!
Yes, it knocked me off the motorcycle. I'm on the ground.
Wally, that could be bad.
Yeah, I am on the ground, and I am on my hands and knees, and blood is just pouring out of my face. I had to remove the stick from my nose. It didn't come out, like, just on its own.
No,
Swear.
you did not.
Honest, truthful.
Was it a stick?
Yes.
You were on the motorcycle,
Yes.
and the stick was so far, like, high up
Yes.
that it literally took you out,
And
like
it
a
stayed,
spear?
yes, and it stayed in my nose. I fell off.
Did you go to the hospital?
No, I remember Phil coming up and Phil going, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I don't know yet." And so I'm trying to get the bleeding to stop. And fortunately, he had a first aid kit. And so we just packed all this stuff up inside my nose. I thought I had pierced my septum because it hit and it hurt that bad. But as it turns out, Betty's watching the pictures right now on our Instagram stories.
This is why you shouldn't
Right.
do that's not the stick.
Yeah, that is the stick.
No, it's not.
It is the stick.
Wait, I missed it. What? No.
Yeah, you have to see it.
No, it's not.
That honest, truthful, that's the stick.
Wally, this is why you can't do things like this because you always
I
hurt
know.
yourself.
I even told Phil, I'm like, Betty is going to have a field day with this, and she told me not to do this.
You could have punctured your brain.
I know.
That's just unlucky, though.
Yeah, I mean, and I told Haley, my daughter was asking me about it. I said, this is 4,500 acres filled with trees, and this one stick and my half-inch nostril decided to occupy the same space at one time. Crazy town.
Are you okay?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. I kept
you
riding.
smell?
Yeah, I'm good. My nose whistles a little, but like other than that, I'm good. So, okay, what is your three-word weekend, all right? 855-33-WAY-FM. What did you do in 3 words, a little sentence that describes your 3-day weekend? Debbie, you give us a 3-word sentence that describes your weekend. We'll try to guess what happened.
Black dogs running.
Black dogs running. I am going to say that you are training for the Iditarod.
What's that?
It's a dog sled race in Alaska.
Oh.
Wow.
Yeah, and you got some new black dogs, and you had to take them out running. Am I right?
No.
No.
I think that there was something of yours that was taken. You knew who took it, and you wanted it back. So you went out there dressed all in your black so that no one could see you, and you went to get what was yours, get it back. But they have black dogs, and they ran after you, attacking you.
You are very smart, but no.
No, okay. What was it?
My husband opened a new tribute band with Led Zeppelin.
Nice.
Yes.
I like everything about this. Because Led Zeppelin used to have a song called Black Dog. So how old is your husband?
He is 58.
Like, here's what I love about this. Like, he has another job. He's like, a regular 9-to-5 guy. But he's still playing because it's something he loves and enjoys at his age. And he's just doing it for the fun. He knows he's not going to make $1 million out of this, but he's doing it because he loves it. And that, to me, is super cool. It's kind of like me. I play guitar like most days now, but it's just for my own, because I like doing it, and I want to get better at it.
Exactly.
Sure, do I stand in the room in front of a mirror with a hairbrush and go, "Hey, Nashville, how you doing tonight?" Yes. Because if I ever do get the call, then I want to be ready.
Yes, you have to be ready.
Uplifting Way FM, this is the Wally Show. We're doing a 3-word, 3-day weekend where you give us 3 words, and it's supposed to describe what happened, and we'll try to guess what happened. Now, Gavin, you said you have a 3-day, 3-word weekend. What do you got?
I do. It's spontaneous football game.
Spontaneous football game. I'm going to say that it was you and some friends getting together and like somebody just started throwing a football like guys do.
Sure.
And then before you knew it, you guys were shirts and skins paired up.
Oh.
Which one am I?
Definitely shirt.
Good.
And I don't blame you. I would do the same thing. I would fake an injury and go home so I didn't have to be skins.
Oh, absolutely.
And you guys played a game of tackle because it started off as touch, but it always escalates into tackle football.
As men do.
Yeah, absolutely. Am I right?
That is not what happened.
No, I thought I was going to be dead on the money.
No, obviously you're not, because Gavin, yes, he goes to the gym and he's done great at losing weight, but I think on his days off, he does not want to put forth any effort. So I think it was a spontaneous football game, but it was on a video game. A spontaneous video game football game.
Okay.
And there was a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming, and even your wife, Haley, got involved, but she made some snacks.
Oh.
Ooh, she's a
Wow.
good snack maker.
Like wings, chicken wings.
Way to put her into a stereotypical woman role there, Rock. I would have said she got involved and was playing with you and beat you because I think women are amazing.
But she does make great wings. No, that's not what happened.
Oh.
So what happened was the NFL playoffs are going on right now.
Oh, they are?
And there's a game at 7:15 in Cincinnati. And
What?
at noon, the day of that game, a couple of our friends at like midnight had bought tickets for that game.
Uh-huh.
And then I told my wife, thinking she'd be like, oh, that's cool. She's like, but I want to go. So at noon, 7 hours before the game, we bought tickets
What?
and then drove 4 hours
What?
to an NFL playoff game. Spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
Way too much
I can't
money.
imagine buying tickets day of like this cheap.
But we did that, found like a dog sitter and everything.
In a day?
In a day. I woke up that morning, a much wealthier man.
Yes.
And a lot like more relaxed. And then I drove 4 hours to Cincinnati for a football game.
Watch the football game. Did you stay overnight at least?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
We rented. I was not going to make that drive. We rented a hotel.
Was
Okay.
it worth it?
If I don't look at my bank account, yes.
Did either, was it a good game?
It was a great game. Absolutely.
Either team that you like or just like, it's a football game?
It's a football game.
Okay.
I don't understand
But
that at all.
That's a great memory, though. See,
Oh,
that's
yeah.
the thing. Like, you and your wife, like, the spontaneous memories like that, you'll look back on this years from now when you're like, what do you want to do? And you're like, I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. Remember when we used to be spontaneous and we went to that football game?
Well, we're getting stuff out of the way, like, before we have kids. This
Sure.
is stuff you don't do when you have a kid.
Oh,
So,
this is like a bucket list thing.
yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
I
a
see.
great idea. It's like
I
a
see.
pre-kid bucket
Yep.
list. That's what everybody should have because once you have a kid, and they're at the light, but like you have to never be selfish again, and you have to put life on hold for a little bit.
Absolutely.
Especially early on. Then it gets a little better, but then your kid never leaves. They work their way into your Hawaiian vacation coming up this year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Someone's still having a hard time getting past
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I told my daughter, said, yeah, your mom and I are going to Hawaii, and she's like, I can make it. Like, what do you mean you can make it? You have a job.
You weren't invited.
Yeah, you weren't invited, but somehow my wife's like, oh, that would be fun. Like, no! Oh, boy. So, yeah, get it out of the way now, Gavin.
Monday school is what Wally learned at church in 3 minutes or less. Think of it as like the Twitter version of church.
So I know it's not Monday, it's Tuesday, but we had a 3-day weekend, and so God's word is timeless, so we'll do it today.
Amen.
Yeah, you know, what you would have learned on Monday is still applicable on Tuesday. So we looked at how Jesus called Peter and the other disciples, and they weren't pastors, they were fishermen, and they were from other professions, and they were not polished, eloquent speakers, but God grew them and used them to change the world, and he still does that to us today. He calls us today, and we have a myriad of excuses why we can't do things, but God equips us in that. Our pastor said potential is God's gift to us. What we do with it is our gift to him. And I thought, no, that's kind of cool. So how do we grow in our faith so that we feel like, okay, we can do this, and there are a few areas that we can start with, and they all have A's in them. So
Oh,
that
that's
helps.
helpful.
Yeah, the 3 A's. Here we go. Availability. Makes sense, right, Rock?
Yeah, because you got to make yourself available.
Yep. Salvation happens in an instant, when we ask, but it doesn't stop there. We should always make ourselves available to God and let him work through us. Like my pastor, I love this idea. Like his prayer, like he's like every day, it's like, God, what do you want to do today? Like I'm available. How do you want to use me? And if we went at our day like that, I can't even imagine how different the day would look and how different we would treat people if when they're frustrating you, because it happens,
Yeah.
and you started your day with, how can you use me today? Then that person's no longer in your way. They're an opportunity, and stuff. Another thing is attitude. Another A, we can serve the Lord begrudgingly, because you can go to church every time the doors are open and you can be upset about it, or you can do it with joy. And I started thinking about it like this. It's like when you go to a restaurant and the server's there, and if they're having a bad day and they're serving you, it ruins the experience. But if they are in a good mood, the end result is the same. You got your food, but you had a much better experience with them. And there's that joy, and it's contagious. And it's kind of like that. You can do your job and get it done, but you feel better and you affect people more when you do it with joy and with a good attitude. And the final A is accountability. This is Betty Rock's specialty, holding people accountable, even if they have not even asked for it. She is good at this.
Ready to serve.
Yeah, spiritual growth happens in community. Being around fellow believers to help us grow is important. It's kind of like being on a sports team where you are pushing to be your best, and you're each pushing each other to be your best, and that's kind of the purpose of community. And I don't always see it like that. I'm not wired for community.
People?
Yeah, in general. like small groups are tough for me, and stuff. And so this is an area that I definitely need to grow in. And so availability, attitude, and accountability, 3 good areas if you want to see your faith grow, because that's good for you and it's good for the people around you. Maybe that will help you today. And that is your Monday School.
Coffee shops, poolside, back porch, picnic table at the park, at your kids' soccer practice. Just about anywhere can be your classroom when you decide to go back to school online at Colorado Christian University.
I know I got my degree online, and I actually did a homework at a campsite. I was sitting around a campfire writing a paper. That is where I did some of my work that weekend. So life doesn't have to stop just because you go back to school to better yourself. You can work towards this future and this goal that you want to accomplish, and it doesn't have to totally consume you or derail your normal life with friends, your family, or what have you.
And you can earn accredited degrees from Colorado Christian without ever setting foot on campus.
So there really shouldn't be an excuse to not going back to school. If it's something you really want to do, you can do it. And all you have to do is go to ccu.edu/Wally to learn more. And the other really important thing is that Colorado Christian is committed to cultivating the mind without compromising the heart. So check it out, ccu.edu/Wally.
Uplifting Way FM.
If no news is good news, this is great news.
That's not really a joke.
I disagree. I find it hilarious.
It's news-ish on The Wally Show.
So COVID changed the way a lot of companies work. They allowed people to work from home. I remember when we were going through COVID, Betty Rock spent some time working remotely.
I did. I was telling someone about that not that long ago because they were like, how would you do a radio show over Zoom? I was like, it was not easy.
No, because that
You talk
delay.
about it. Yeah, that delay. So Wally would say a joke and he'd be looking for a reaction.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, ha!
or like, you go to interject something and it's delayed and you're like, wait,
overstep.
what? What? Oh, I said, and then by the time you get to what you said, it's like not funny anymore.
Yeah.
And
Good
so
times.
that was tough. But a lot of companies are asking people or forcing people to come back now. It's funny because at the time they're like, yeah, this is great. We're doing awesome. Sales are up and we're killing it. And then now they're like, no, we actually kind of like people being back together. And there's something about that I enjoy.
It builds camaraderie.
Absolutely. And so, can you do it in certain industries? Absolutely. Is it better for some? No. And for some, maybe it doesn't matter. But Starbucks is actually asking employees within commuting distance of their headquarters in Seattle to come back to work. And it's so funny because they're only asking for 3 days a week. Hey guys, if it's not too much trouble,
That's great.
Could you make your way in? You used to do it for like 10 years before. Could you come in for like 3 days? If I'm sorry, but could you?
Are they giving a reason why they want
They
this to
did
happen?
actually, yeah. They said that it's interesting that Starbucks employees were losing faith in the company's ethics and social impact, marking these as historic low statistics for the company. Like people were losing the vision being disconnected from it, and they felt it was affecting their brand. And like people need to be here and be in the fray, in the thick of it together.
Makes sense.
Yeah, to be reminded of what we're trying to actually do versus being siloed and being a lone wolf.
Right, because sometimes it can feel like, oh, we're all towards the same, outlook.
Exactly.
It makes it more like a team effort.
Yeah, and they also said it was unfair to employees that work at the stores. And I like this. I've always said this. Like within radio shows, work inequity kills shows. If you've got one or two people that are working harder than the others, it always ends badly. And this is part of that. Like employees that work at the stores have to be there, and I'm sure they resent not being able. They can't work from home, so why do you get to work from home? So that inequity was something that they were looking at, and they're like, you know what? We should come back in. Let's start slow, just 2 or 3 days a week. And people were even like not showing up for that.
Oh my gosh.
So so it's interesting, but you might find yourself in that place as well with your company saying, hey, I need you to come back to work, and then you've got that decision to make. Do I like this, or do I want to go find another job?
You know what? That brings me to my next thought.
Brings me to mine too. This is interesting.
No, I want to say it first.
You want me to go first? Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show, and if you're a parent of a teen, you know that can be a little challenging sometimes. And you hear all the stories about like bullying and teens doing these bad things. But I think that those are the stories that make the news, and very rarely do the stories of kids doing the right things make the news. And I would suspect there are more of that. More kids doing the right thing than the bullying stuff, but it doesn't get talked about.
Yeah, and I wish that it would get talked about more, because I do feel like it would make it more of a popular thing with kids, and they'd be like, oh, it is okay to be nice to someone. Like, I can still look cool, or I can still be cool with my friends when I'm nice to people.
Yeah, there was a guy in my high school, Danny Goodman. He went on to marry my cousin, and then he died at like 35. It was a weird blood clot thing.
Oh, wow.
But I will always remember him. He was in the cool kids club, but he was so kind to everyone. Like, he never was bullying people, and he was always trying to include the outsiders, myself, and others. Like, he was such a good version of a teenager.
And I think that's what you want to be remembered for, instead of being like you later on saying, I remember him because he did this and this to me and made my life horrible.
Yeah, exactly. And so there, Betty was like, there should be, recognition. They actually have a day, a National Good Teen Day, believe it or not. And so this is what we want to talk about. What makes your teen terrific? Because again, we hear all the bad stories, but it's a chance for you to kind of celebrate some of the teens in your life. Maybe it's your own kid, or maybe it's a kid at church or at school. You're a teacher and you're like, this kid is getting it right. Because I'd love to celebrate this stuff, and maybe too, kids are just they're always trying on different personalities and trying to figure out who they are as they're growing up, and maybe hearing like, hey, this is desirable. This is a good trait. Maybe try this on. It's easy to be the meanie bobini. That's a technical term.
Don't use that in school, kids.
Yeah, don't, because there will be a bully. But it's more difficult to be the outlier and the person that is kind. So 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. We love having you on the show. A chance for you to brag about your teen or another one in your life that you know of. 855-33-WAY-FM. What's yours?
My son is in high school. He's a senior, and he's doing IB, so lots of hard classes. But he decided he wanted to get a job so that he could start saving for college. And he actually got into USF, the school he wanted to go to. Nice. But he started teaching kids swimming at an indoor pool close to our house. And it's really fun watching him, because it's not easy to be around all those kids. They're jumping around being crazy.
Yeah.
But he calms them down, and he plays with them, but he also teaches them, and he does a really great job, and it just impresses me to watch him.
It's really cool to see them get their first paycheck after they've worked for a full week, and they feel good about it. And you know how little money it is, and it's not going to buy books at college, but that pride of working for something and instilling that in them is very important. And then when they ask you, who is this FICA and why are they stealing my money? That's always fun. So what is the thing that makes your teen terrific, Shelley?
Well, my daughter, Aaliyah, is a 14-year-old leader in her youth group, and she is constantly seeking out how to serve others and pray for others. For kids who haven't shown up to a youth group in a while, she'll text them and ask them how she can pray for them. In fact, our youth director just is moving on to start a church, and she sent him a text saying, how can I pray for you? I'm so grateful you've impacted my life. And she constantly posts things up on the Way FM prayer wall.
That's really cool. Yeah, you have to be super proud of her for that. Like, it's great when kids get like super great grades, and because they're going to help you pay for college by getting scholarships, which is fantastic. But I'll tell you, my daughter was in performance. Like, she wanted to be musical theater. And so whenever people would come and tell me, oh, she did great in that play or whatever, like, that's awesome. Like, it's wonderful. But I loved as a parent getting, man, your daughter is so kind to people. Your daughter just radiates Jesus. Like, that's the compliments that I loved. And so, like, I can't imagine how that feels for you.
And a compliment that he couldn't take any credit for because it was all his wife's.
And you know what? I always did that. I'm like, that's her mom. Like, that's her mom. If she's done anything dumb, that's me.
There's an app for that.
Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. It's time for a little What's Appening. There are so many apps. You can't keep track of them all. And so when we find one, we like to share it with you. Betty Rock, you got one today. What do you got?
Yeah, this one is called Prayminder.
I like it.
So it's an app that if you have a prayer request, you put it in there, and then it's going to remind you throughout the day to, hey, you need to pray for this.
Oh.
I had a friend that actually downloaded it, and I downloaded it too. She said that it's really helped her. I have downloaded it.
Mm-hmm. How's it working out?
I haven't gone any further than that. But but like I said, she likes the fact that it can remind you about a specific request that's important to you, but also it can remind you just to pray throughout the day, which is also important. And when you have a prayer request, you can put it in the in progress category, or you can put it in the answered category.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
So you can move them back and forth.
Yeah, I like that. I think that prayer is like an attitude that, like, a lot of times we pray before dinner, or we pray when there's something really big in our lives, kind of thing. But I think that if you are in that constant conversation with God throughout the day, your life looks a little bit different. I know there are times I'm really good at this and times I'm really bad at this.
Right, but I think it can put you in the right state of mind where you realize, hey, things are bigger than me.
Yep.
And thankfully I'm not in control, but I do know the one who is in control, and he's on my side. So maybe it just helps us see our perspectives differently.
I do find that it helps me with like gratitude and stuff too. Like I find myself being more thankful for things. I find myself having little conversations with God over dumb, innocuous things and being like, oh, thanks, God. Now, did God give me that parking space? I don't know. But like if I'm attributing that to God and I'm thankful for whatever's going on in life, I think that's a really healthy thing.
Right, and you're a healthier person to be around.
Yeah, so there you go. You got an app you could check out. We've also got the prayer wall that you could spend time on at wayfm.com, which is another good way to have your prayer requests prayed for and pray for other people. And I think creating that pattern or that habit of prayer is probably a good thing for all of us.
And it's called Prayminder.
Gotcha.
Uplifting Way FM.
If you're a little sluggish in the morning, then news-ish is your speed.
You burned your foot on a Foreman grill.
I like waking up to the smell of bacon. Sue me.
It's the Wally Show.
What you got, Gavin?
I think that one of the most recognizable gas stations in the world is probably 7-Eleven. Would you guys agree with that?
Yeah. Slurpees and stuff.
Yeah.
Big Gulp. I grew up with 7-Elevens, and in some parts of the country, they're not a thing.
No.
And you're like, oh, because it's like a quick trip or a twice daily if you don't know.
Sure, and I did this. I grew up riding my bike to go get a Slurpee. It's like one of my favorite memories.
So good.
And those are fond memories, but there's one 7-Eleven that is finding itself in the news for handling a situation in a way that's become a little bit more controversial. So there's a 7-Eleven in Austin, Texas, that's being accused of trying to get rid of homeless people around the store by blasting loud opera music throughout the night.
Oh.
Here is what it sounds like, and then a homeowner who lives nearby, how they react to it.
I could hear the music before I even got to the 7-Eleven. It's annoying this early in the morning. Not that I don't love classical music, but this is just rude.
Don't get me wrong. Classical music is great. I don't want to offend any classical music people because everyone will go nuts on me on TikTok. They're very motivated, but I don't like this. Yeah, that's a tough one, man. Homelessness is such a problem in every city, and everyone wants it to be someone else's problem.
Yeah.
And it's really difficult. Like I have a friend that has a ministry that they have mobile shower units to help provide showers for homeless people. And then they've had people go, well, you're just enabling them to be homeless. And he's like, no, we're trying to give them dignity while they are being homeless, And so people don't know how to navigate it. And I understand if you have a business and you have a bunch of homeless people hanging out at your business, it's not good for business. But how do you balance that between being a kind human, and protecting your investment? It's tough.
And I think that, honestly, there are harsher, tougher ways to push homeless people away than just blasting opera music.
Yeah.
And then you just have these people that live nearby who are calling it rude and complaining about it.
Yeah, they're the ones taking the hit for it all the time, too. I've seen other people that have chose to handle homelessness differently, and it's really interesting. Like, there was this one restaurant where they had homeless people all around it, and instead of pushing them away, they started feeding them. And then you think, wow, that's a dangerous thing, because then word gets out and all of a sudden you're a soup kitchen, but that wasn't their story, and it was, it's tough. I feel bad for people that have to navigate that, because it doesn't feel like there's much of a win anywhere in it. And this idea doesn't seem like it's working either. It's kind of backfiring on them. So.
No, people are not cheering them on for doing this.
Yeah, maybe they'll get something figured out, or just be like, hey, a sign, hey, twice daily has free coffee, and maybe start that. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Almost died over the weekend in a very humiliating, oddly tragic way. I was riding dirt bikes with our engineer Phil here. He has a couple, and we went out to ride together. And I haven't ridden in 20 some odd years, and I was really bad at it. And apparently I didn't fall off, but somehow I ran into a stick that went through the helmet and into my nose.
Because
right up my nose.
And it was the only stick out in the field.
Yeah.
But you found it, and it lodged itself into your nose.
It found me, and I had to remove it from my nose, and it was bad. Like, you can see it on our Instagram if you just search Wally Show. I have a story on it. But so it's like, okay, I was trying a new hobby, because my best friend, who I mountain bike with, is moving to Utah. And so I don't really have anybody that I ride with. And so now I'm like, oh, well, dadgummit, what am I going to do? Yeah. I need a new hobby, And so I went out with Phil to see if dirt biking was going to be a thing for me. But apparently, if you ride a dirt bike and you get a stick up your nose, probably not your thing.
Not meant to be.
Yeah. Like, I told my daughter, I said, out of 4,500 acres in all woods, this one stick and my half-inch nostril decided to share the same real estate, and like there's no, like, I can't even, Phil couldn't even look at me after that. He was like,
understandable.
This is humiliating, like, dadgummit. And so I'm on the hunt for a new hobby. Okay, I do play pickleball. So I've got that.
But you injure yourself there as well.
I find that I hurt myself a lot. Like my wife, when I was getting ready to go dirt biking with Phil, she's like, be careful. She's like, are you nervous? I said, kind of. I fall off mountain bikes. So, this could hurt a lot worse.
And when he plays pickleball, he sprains his toes. He pulls his leg muscles.
So
he can't walk.
I just need a hobby, maybe one that's low impact. I don't know. But I'm looking for something to do. I already do woodworking, so I have things, but I'm looking for something fun, maybe unusual. Maybe something like, I don't know, rock climbing. That could be fun.
No, that's not. You need something that's more stationary.
No one's ever died rock climbing, right?
Wrong.
So, so if you've got a hobby that you do, or maybe your husband or boyfriend is super into something that you think, oh, I think Wally should try this, and I would like to.
I have a suggestion.
Yes.
What about collecting Pokemon cards?
Oh, I could do that with you.
He got so excited.
Yeah, he did.
And this is why Gavin is just taking himself out of the running for new best friend, okay? No, I will not be collecting Pokemon cards. I like things that are somewhat active, though. I do like to go and do,
Yeah,
so.
Gotta find the balance, though, between extreme and active and non-life-threatening.
Yeah, I don't know. I like to live on that edge. So if you've got one, help me out. 855-33-WAY-FM. That's 855-33-WAY-FM. What do you think would be a good hobby for me, Rob?
You should do airsoft. If you don't know what airsoft is, it's 6mm biodegradable BBs that we shoot at each other in practice combat simulation. It's a game of honor. in a game of integrity.
Okay, now I do like this because I used to play paintball back in the day.
Very similar.
Yeah.
Not as messy and not as painful.
Yeah, paintball hurt, honestly. And you say it's a game of honor and integrity because that's the only way you know if you've been hit is if you call it, right?
That's right. Well, we do have admins on the field who watch over those people who tend to have tougher skin, so to speak, and we ensure they call their hit.
Okay, now, because with paintball, you put on as thick a clothing as you can to keep it from hurting. I think with airsoft, you should have to play without a shirt on. Because then because you're going to scream or you're going to get welts. Then you know who's really out.
Well, you played it that way, it would be kind of ugly at the end of the day because most of us are, older. And,
that's true.
Not always in the greatest shape. All right, have a good day, Wally.
Hey, thanks, buddy.
Yep, bye.
There is no way I can do this because I will be the only one that gets his eye shot out. Somehow, some way, I guarantee you I'll get my eye shot out.
Oh, for sure.
I'd probably do it myself. What is a good hobby I should look into?
Okay, so you can always try fishing. You can do that any time of the year, and whether you're good at it or not, you can just go just to have fun.
I like this idea too, Elizabeth, because a lot of fishing can be done just by sitting.
Mm-hmm.
And Wally, surely you can't hurt yourself doing that.
Let me just point this out. Okay, I went motorcycle riding and I got a stick in my nose. I'm prone to get hurt. Is it the best idea for me to be sitting there with something you swing or cast that has hooks on it?
Yeah, okay, second thought. Bad idea.
Yes,
Bad
if anyone's
idea.
going to hook themselves.
Well, you can always just take it so that put a string on a stick and put a hot dog on the end of the stick, and there you go.
You'll be known as the crazy guy who just fishes with hot dogs on a stick.
I could see myself getting hooked because I'd forget the hook is in there and be like, "Oh, I am hungry."
Oh my god!
I'd eat my own bait.
Wow.
All right, Christy, you're up. Help me with a hobby, please.
Hey, you need to take up disc golf.
Oh, I do have disc golfs. I've played a few times. I played one summer a lot. And then, again,
my gosh.
I hurt my shoulder. It's...
No.
Yeah, and I cannot throw the disc very far at all.
Well, I don't know. Maybe crocheting's your thing then.
Yes, crochet!
I don't know. That has needles, and that's going to hurt me too.
I'll never forget taking my first compassion trip, and we went to Ghana, Africa. When we got there to the site, there was this little girl. She was 6 years old. I later found out her name was Vivian, and she would not let go of my hand. She followed me everywhere I went on that site. And later, I got to meet her family. I met her mother and her siblings, and they all lived in this little mud hut. I mean, it wasn't big at all. And when I looked at Vivian, she had the biggest smile on her face, and she was just happy to be there, just happy to be with us. And it made such an impact in my life that I wanted to sponsor her right then and there. Because of my sponsorship for Vivian through Compassion, I'm able to write letters back and forth with her. I'm now getting updated photos, and now I think she's even taller than me, which is crazy to think. But I'm also able to see how my sponsorship is providing the food, clean water, and other support that she needs and her family needs to live the best life possible. And I can only imagine now with the pandemic, war, and weather disasters, there are so many other families like Vivian's who are dealing with hunger. So maybe you want to make an impact and sponsor your own Vivian. Just click the Compassion banner when you go to wayfm.com.
Uplifting Way FM.
If it ain't broke,
it's what your people magazine would sound like with a southern accent.
Don't fix it.
It's the Rock Report with Betty Rock.
We all have different tastes, and that's what makes us unique. We have different tastes in food, movies, even music at some times. I found this article stating they have a list of rock songs that most of us can agree are the worst.
Oh.
So I want to see where we all lie on this with our opinions.
And
okay?
this is probably Gavin will be hearing for the first time. I have a feeling.
And some of these, I think they're using rock very loosely. I wouldn't consider them rock songs. The first one that they say we can all agree on is one of the worst is REM's Shiny Happy People.
Oh, yeah, and this is not a rock song. Come on. Shiny happy people holding. Shiny happy
people. Why is that even considered rock?
It's not.
I'm lost.
REM was an alternative band, and so that's not a rock song. And that was weird even for them. and they were a weird band. Betty Rock, definitely out.
I am so out.
It had the girl from the B-52s in it.
Do not care.
Still, Gavin out.
That was terrible.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of that one.
All right, what about this one? Phil Collins, Studio.
Oh, no. Yeah. The Cabbage Patch Rocker. Do you know they used to call him that?
No,
They
why?
did, because he looked like a Cabbage Patch doll. He was balding on the top and he had that round face.
Poor
They used to
Phil.
call him the Cabbage Patch
Now,
Rocker.
I love this song.
Do you really?
I think it's catchy. It's fantastic. You don't like
I
it?
hate it.
Why?
I was like, Phil Collins has "In the Air Tonight," where it's got that
So
drum,
good.
like gong 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 gong. Like, okay, like that one, but not a fan of Studio.
What about you, Gavin?
Well, I think that it makes sense if I was at like a disco party and I heard that. I'd be like, this is a great disco song.
That's not even a disco
No,
song.
it's like
I know.
80s.
I know.
He's so cute.
I'm so uneducated, but
He's
I
so young.
didn't love it.
Oh, I
All right,
loved
do you
it.
got one more?
All right, the Beach Boys, Kokomo.
Yes. Okay. Do you remember what celebrity was in the video for Kokomo? He was a
No.
TV star.
Oh.
No, John Stamos?
Yes, John Stamos.
Look at me.
How did you get that, Gavin?
I just kind of felt like I could see the John Stamos like mullet hair.
Yes.
Wasn't he a big Beach Boys fan, like in Full House?
Yes, he was. And
Huh.
so in that video, he is in that video for that horrible song.
It's not horrible.
Oh, do you like that?
Yes.
No.
No, it's so good. And it gets stuck in your
Jamaica,
head.
Bahama, come on, pretty mama. That's
Bahama.
just so bad.
It's so good.
It's fun.
Early Beach
Yeah.
Boys, like 50s Beach Boys was great.
What?
Beach Boys trying to stay current and relevant,
Yeah,
not
but
good.
this is coming from a guy who thinks Petra and
Yeah.
all of that is great.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
take it with a grain of
Sue
salt.
me for loving songs about the Lord. You're right, but there you go. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. It is time to win a prize right now, but you have to work for it a little bit. You got two jobs. It's best worst joke. You will be given 3 jokes. We're each going to tell one, and you try to tell us which is the best worst joke. We know that they are groaners. Now, the caveat to this is if we steal somebody's punchline before they say it, then the joke is out of contention. Now, that being said, this is important because then you are going to tell us a joke, and if we cannot steal your punchline, that is how you win a prize. So you got to bring your comedic A game. Who's feeling good about their joke today? I know I am. Betty Rock?
Oh, well, then go right ahead.
Oh, okay. This is good. Because, I hear a lot of jokes, obviously. This is one I'd never heard before, and I was like, I like it. What do you call a broken can opener? What do you call a broken can opener?
A can't opener?
I hate you, Gavin.
Come on. So easy.
Wow.
I had never heard that joke before, and Gavin
Your
just
joke
stole
is
it.
out of contention.
It's gone right out of the
just
gate.
like that.
Dang, you didn't even
Gavin.
pause.
Dang, that was
Man.
good. Gavin. Okay,
Okay.
wait a minute. Maybe you can steal his.
I hope so. Gavin?
I think you will steal mine because you said who's confident? I'm not. I feel
Okay.
like everyone's heard this.
Oh, I hope I know this.
What do vegan zombies eat?
Oh, I have heard this. Oh, I hate when I hear it and I can't remember.
3,
No,
2,
no,
1.
go.
Grains.
Grains, yeah.
Grains.
Grains.
Yeah.
All right, well, you survived.
Okay.
Barely.
Here's mine. This one is from Sherry. Why don't cats make good DJs? Because they keep hitting pause. What?
Their little paws.
Okay, I think Betty might have this one. Okay, but it doesn't matter what I think. If you want to play, here's the rules. You have to tell us which of the jokes is the best worst joke. That's Betty's or Gavin's, because Gavin stole mine. I'm out. I love that Betty is so against me all the time. Like,
Well, yeah.
Yeah, I know. Okay, but
Because you play so dirty.
then you have to tell us a joke, and if we can steal your punchline, maybe Gavin will do the same thing to you. You will not win a prize. But if you can stump all of us, you can win. 855-33-WAY-FM is the number. That's 855-33-WAY-FM if you want to do best worst joke with us right now. Uplifting Way FM. This is the Wally Show. Patricia, thank you so much for joining us for Best Worst Joke. So here's how it works. You have 2 jokes to choose from because Gavin stole mine, which means it's out of contention. You just have to tell us which is the best worst joke. We'll give them to you one more time. Gavin?
What do vegan zombies eat? Grains.
Grains. Okay. Betty Rock?
Why don't cats make good DJs? Because they keep hitting pause.
I love that. I got to tell you, I love your delivery, too.
Thank you.
Okay, so Patricia, what do you think? Best worst joke?
I love Betty's joke.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's one you can retell today at work and be like cute about it. Gavin, do me a favor. You tell that joke, please. The DJ joke.
Why do cats make bad DJs?
Yeah.
Because they're always hitting pause.
Yeah, not as good.
No.
Yeah, it works better from a cute girl. So, Patricia, go with that one.
She's got that down.
Okay, so here's the deal now, Patricia. You have to tell us a joke, and if you can stump us, we cannot steal your punchline. You will win a prize. What do you got?
What is more amazing than a talking dog?
What is more amazing than a talking dog?
Oh, man.
I don't know.
It looks like you got us. What?
A spelling bee.
Ah, there it is. There you go. That's about a third grade level joke, but you know what? We must be second graders because it worked. So congratulations, Patricia. You are a winner today on The Wally Show.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
And now for some good news.
Uplifting Way FM. This year's The Wally Show with a roundup, if you will, a cavalcade of good news stories, because the regular news is a bit heavy, sometimes divisive and ugly, and so we like to brighten things up a little bit here. So, Gavin, let's start with you. Good news, giddy up, go.
Do you guys remember the story of the guy who broke into a school near Buffalo, New York, a little while ago? He sheltered like 24 plus people from a blizzard. So they are thanking him, they being the Buffalo Bills, the football team, they're thanking him by giving him 2 tickets to the Super Bowl in Arizona next month. Hopefully the Bills make it so he can cheer on his team. But either way, going to the Super Bowl is super cool. And then one of the former Bills running backs, his name is Thurman Thomas, showed up and with the tickets to surprise him.
That's cool, man.
It's really cool.
Like he helped save people in that blizzard, and that's a cool way to honor him.
Oh, yeah.
He's probably a soccer fan.
He rejects the tickets.
This one's kind of cool. And stay with me because I'm going to take you on a little journey here. There's a family from Florida that just got their dog back 4 years after they had to give him to a shelter. And why did they give him to a shelter and find a loving home? But they were moving to Japan, and they gave their dog Cubby to the shelter because they couldn't take him with them. But a few months ago, Cubby shows up at a vet in upstate New York, and they scanned his microchip because he had been chipped, and he'd been on his own for a while, so he's looking a little rough, had been hit by a car. But wasn't seriously hurt, so we're still good. We're still in good news world here. So the vet got in touch with the original owners, found out these people who had moved to Japan had recently moved back to the U.S. and were living in California, and now Cubby is being sent to them, and they get their dog back.
Oh, Cubby.
He's coming home.
Just precious.
Tearing up.
It's almost like watching Homeward Bound, that movie. That one made me tear up when Shadow comes crawling out of the ground and he's like, Peter.
It's a real life Homeward Bound.
It's just wonderful.
They should make a movie out of this story for these people for sure. And that's going to do it for your good news. Giddy up.
If you love the music on Way FM,
This is probably like my favorite.
but have heard a new song and want to know more, here's what's new on Way with Betty Rock.
For King and Country, they have a new song out, and it's called Love Me Like I Am, featuring Miss Jordan Sparks.
It's amazing that you care. Love me like I am. And even when I can't, you still love me as I am.
I heard this the other day, and I didn't know who the girl was. I was trying to picture her voice and place her voice, and I had no idea it was Jordan Sparks. It's good to hear American Idol alumni.
Right, exactly. Well, Joel Smallbone, he said that the title of the song came to him in his sleep, actually, and he just couldn't forget it, so a song was written using it. I wish I could say that about my own dreams. My dreams are about kittens falling out of the sky.
And pizza. That's weird.
Yeah.
Pizza is so good. You could do it.
I could.
And cats are really furry.
Well, to turn it to a more serious note,
okay.
The song has a great message. It's about how we as humans beings are sinful, yet God stays with us. So in the song, Joel and Luke call themselves unstable, difficult, self-critical, and unable. And I think all of us have found ourselves putting ourselves in each of those categories.
Well, that's good, because I was thinking, because I know them fairly well, and I thought that's all accurate of them.
Wow, we can add to yours, judgmental.
Yes, exactly. Put me down for judgment.
But that's what's so great about the message of this song. While we can still be unstable, difficult, self-critical, unable, you add to the list. What's great is that God loves us despite our flaws. He's always going to be there standing beside us. It says in Romans 8:38, I am convinced that nothing can ever separate us from God's love. So that means in all of our shortcomings, no matter how far you fall, you can always come back because he loves you just as you are.
Well, there you go. This is new music. This is what's on way. It's Love Me Like I Am with For King and Country featuring Miss Jordan Sparks. Enjoy it.
I am a little unstable, loose wires, always getting tangled now. I am a little bit difficult, I can be a little self-critical.
Well, the podcast is over, but there's still the aftercast. It's new stuff you didn't hear in the podcast. Be sure to rate us on iTunes, as well as connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Just search Wally Show. And if you'd like to join our Facebook group made exclusively for you potties, the link is in the description of this podcast. Thanks to Colorado Christian University Online and United Faith Mortgage for supporting what we do.